You see that big thing on it going round again? I know, just what?
Is your version electronic or hard copy? Is it you've got it physical or physical?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town Council meeting, Thursday 18th of November. And I just ask members of the public, if you have a mobile phone, if you could switch it off onto silent or switch it off altogether, please, while this meeting is being conducted. Thank you.
Again.
This is a notice of an extraordinary council meeting. You are hereby summoned to attend an extraordinary meeting of Hemsworth Town Council to be held in the main hall, Hemsworth Town Council Community Centre, Bullenshaw Road, Hemsworth, commencing at 7 PM on Thursday, the 18th of November 2021, for the purpose of transacting the following business. Item number 1, apologies for absence.
Councillors Folletti and Mitchell.
Thank you, Alan. Item number 2, declarations of interest. Councillors should disclose pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest in any item on this agenda. Have we got any? No. Item number 3, public question time. To receive questions from members of the public, if you can raise your hands, please. We'll do our best to answer your questions. If we can't answer them tonight, then I'm sure that the town clerk will give you a written response in due course. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Basically, on a start off regarding the last meeting, I want to apologise. Probably I didn't make it clear, especially to Mr. Draper. I was not asking you about your private life, Mr. Draper. I was merely asking you a question about the time served, which I believe was 7 years and not a month, which Mr. Kenyon said. As a member of the council, which I believe if you're a council, you are a public servant, is that right? So I could ask you questions about that period you was a town council, yeah?
So I don't understand the question. Was it an apology or a question or both, sir?
Well, it was a question because you said last time I asked you a question, you said I'm not prepared to answer that. Going into my private life. And I wasn't asking about your private life, I was asking about the period you was a town councillor on the previous town council. So am I all right asking that question then?
I was a councillor. It was in my private role. My professional role today is town clerk. If you'd asked me a question when I was a councillor, I would answer. Today I answer questions as a town clerk.
So you can't answer questions about your previous time on the council then?
I will answer questions about the administration of this council as town clerk.
But not when you were on the council?
No.
No.
As a councillor, no, because my role now is as a town clerk.
Okay, right.
My professional role. If you have queries from the period when I was a councillor, then feel free to ask those questions, but the answer will be, I didn't make decisions, no council makes decisions. Council make corporate decisions. So whether it's Councillor Draper or Councillor Smith and Jones, it's all the same decision.
Obviously now you're the town clerk now. Is that a paid role now? Is that an occupation?
Can I just come in, if you don't mind? Any member of the public at the public question time can put forward a question to any councillor. That is up to the councillor if they want to answer it or not.
Right.
Now, the other thing is, like Town Clerk just said, if any questions were put to him at that period of time, then obviously he could either say, yeah, I'll answer it, or no, he won't. I'll just go to you, Jean, if you want to come in.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind gentlemen that Alan did say if you want to come up and speak to me in the office, he would do.
Yes, you're right, and I'm still
Anything you wanted to know.
waiting. I'm still awaiting a date. I emailed the day after, requesting an appointment, did I not? And unfortunately, when Mr. Kenyon offered that, he was away for a week. So.
I'm not on about this gate, on about.
Yeah, well, I know, yeah, he did offer that to me in private, yeah, so did Mr. Kenyon. But to be honest, I don't think it's right to clerk at work, the chairman, meeting a member of the public privately. But having said that, I emailed straight after and said, can I organise this meeting? And I also believe I emailed other councillors, so that they'll be able to back me up on that. And I think we're only yesterday when I got a firm result.
Well, obviously I've been away, so if we can clarify this point, me and Alan are prepared to meet you to answer any questions that you've got to the Wick Council, and if you'd like to bring another councillor with you or a member of the public, we've not got a problem with that.
Right, thank you for that, because I'm waiting for confirmation on the email.
If you could give us a list of what questions you want to ask in case we need any paperwork, then we can have it ready for you to disclose to you.
Well, I'll give you the list of the topics we're going to ask, but obviously not the question, because that's defeating the object, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is if we need any paper, we don't need any paper, you just straightforward answer the questions or yes or no, then, you know, obviously we don't need paperwork, but if you're going to ask questions, we will need some paperwork. Obviously, Alan's got it, and I might have some of it. Then, you know, just give us pre-warning so we can have it ready.
Right. So that's my question then, Mr. Draper. Are you now occupied now? Is this an occupation?
Sorry,
Is it now a paid occupation now, the clerk?
Now?
Yeah.
It always has been, sir.
Oh, right. So you're now. When did you sign a works contract then, or a code of conduct or something?
I'm not prepared. Yes, I did, but I'm not prepared to discuss my contract in public.
I don't want you to. I just want to know. But on that contract was the tools and mechanisms for you to chase up on things like.
I've just said I'm not prepared to discuss my contract details in public.
All right, you can just say yes or no then. One of your duties is to advise councillors, yeah?
Kevin, can I come in just a minute? You know, even councillors can't question an employer under the town council on his own employment, or even anybody that works for us. You know, your line of questioning it's inappropriate really to town clerk tonight.
Inappropriate?
Yeah.
I'm just asking if he can say yes or no.
No, he can't do that because he's employed by the town council, and obviously, you know, his remit as a town clerk employed by us is private and confidential between himself and a member of the town council councillors.
Right. Okay, then, can I ask you a question then, Mr. Kenyon?
Yes,
I'm sure you remember from the last meeting, I'm very agreed where you treated the last Hemsworth Town Council, as you well know. And I even stated I think you had a vendetta against them, for which you just shook your head and said you ain't got a clue what I'm on about. Well, I know for a fact you withheld some books, you wouldn't publish them, saying these need forensic financial investigation. And you've even printed that financial investigation and came back and said there's nothing wrong with them. Right, so before you pursued that, did you ask Mr. Draper for advice? Because Mr. Draper obviously is the clerk and he can advise you whether to continue with that, pursue with that line of investigation you wanted to do.
No, at that particular time, Hemsworth Town Council decided to have a forensic audit done on Hemsworth Town Council. Some of the results that came back were redacted on different issues.
Yeah.
And until these issues have been resolved, because one is a court matter, then obviously we can't disclose the things that's been redacted. But it weren't any individual, certainly they weren't the town clerk, it was the town council at that time.
Mr. Kenyon, I would not, there's no way I'm blaming the town clerk. I'm actually accusing you. I think it's you who's got the vendetta against the town council.
I'm only chairman of this council. As Mr. Draper said earlier, this council makes all decisions, corporate decisions, together as a body.
Right, but who put it forward then? Somebody must propose it. Somebody must have said, I propose this goes to forensic financial analysis.
There was a discussion about different things that have gone on within this council, and I mean, I'll give you an example if I can. When independents, if you like, took control of this council. Previously to that, it was Labour controlled. I mean, since we've been on, we've provided football coaches for schools, it's advice, solicitors. We've spent money on Hemsworth Water Park refurbishing, upstairs, downstairs, outside, all flower beds were put in, as you know, we bought machinery. In 3 years of doing that, the precept's not gone up. But every year, when Labour were in, precept did go up. I've got figures here for you, I'll give you a copy of them.
Okay.
So what surprised us is, after 3 years now, what did Hemsworth Town Council previously do with money? And that was because at that time we reorganised all the financial settings here.
Right, fair enough. Can I come in now? Can I finish my question off?
Well, just let me answer. We got, we got.
Oh, sorry, I've got public questions, obviously
well,
not.
Just 1 minute, I'm just trying to answer your first question. We got shut to different firms, which I'm not going to name, that were charging extortionate fees for, maintaining and looking after Hemsworth Town Council property. We brought other contractors in, which saved us a fortune.
Right, okay, so you saved a lot of money, but you've wasted it on this forensic financial investigation. Not only that, this stupid Wenger concert. Now, are you sure that this is the best for the community? Would you put your hand up and say, I know for a fact this will benefit the community?
That's your opinion.
Yeah, well, is it your opinion? My opinion is it doesn't benefit the community.
Well, in 2019, Hemsworth Town Council had a meeting, and these proposals were put forward, and the resolution made to put this show on, which should have been on in 31st August 2020. Unfortunately, due to coronavirus, but contracts were signed, it was cancelled. So obviously it's been carried forward. Further resolutions that's been proposed and put forward have supported it. So that's where we are.
Yeah, so it's got to go ahead. But you'll back that 100% here?
I backed it 100% along with other councillors, but like I said, the council made a resolution to move forward with it.
Yes, but you're the chairman. Do you still stand by that?
Yes, of course I do. Yeah.
And do you stand by continuing this pursuant on the previous Labour Council regarding the complex then?
That's a private matter and it's in court.
Well, it's not a private matter, is it? Because precept payers are paying for it.
It's an award of court, and if I mention that, it will be sub judice.
Well, I don't want you to mention that. I just want you to tell me if you think it's the right path for our monies to be spent on.
What I've said is what I've said previously. It's a decision, a corporate decision by this council.
Right, my next question then, obviously you think it's all right. Would you back that up? Because I'm telling you now, most of the community don't agree with it. But if you do, why don't you resign your position and re-stand for it? And campaign on the back of that. That way then you will find out exactly what the community thinks about it.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, and I'm entitled to that opinion.
You're entitled to your opinion.
In public question time, you're not answering questions, you're deflecting all the time.
I've answered questions what you want. Like I said, all decisions that are made are a corporate decision made by council, not by me.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Let's keep it to members of the public because it's public question time. Yes, sir.
If this concert don't make any money, right, who will be responsible then? As you're saying it.
And the town council, they made the
So,
decision.
you're making the decision on our behalf, but if it loses money, what's going to happen?
Well, I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but I don't think that, once it started its progress now to go through.
Can you just tell me how many tickets you sold to date?
We've only just got a running with Ticketmaster, I think Friday, Alan?
You only sold 200 last time though.
But going back to what you said about the previous council putting their precept up,
just let me answer
if it makes no money, we all be putting the precept up to cover it.
Let me answer this gentleman first and then I'll
If it doesn't make money, what will happen? Will you be
I
responsible?
believe, and this council believed, when they took the decision to take this gala on, festival on, that it was proposed and done on figures for a break even. The agent that we've used to put it together did 2 Wenger Boys concerts.
Well,
Can I just answer this gentleman?
repeat it as well.
The agent that were brought in to put this concert together did 2 similar concerts, a smaller venue or same size venue as this, and he sold 12,000 tickets within a few months. So he's confident that once it's pushed forward and advertised and the climate's right, these tickets will have no problem selling.
So if it doesn't make any money, can I come and hold you responsible then?
Yes,
Because of my money?
yes.
Well, everybody's money.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
right?
That's it, okay, thank you.
Right, I'll come
Right,
back to you.
what you've just said regarding the previous Labour councils putting precept things up, okay? Just say yours crashes, which we all believe it will do. Would you say you will not raise the precept?
As it stands, from last 3 years, we've not raised the precept, which is different.
That's not the question though, is it?
I'm
If this
asking you a
fails,
question. We've not,
you're
as
not.
far as I'm concerned, moving into next year because of climate, you know, things are tight with the pandemic that we've had. We've no intentions of raising, if we've got to cut in different directions, then that's what we'll do. But the council, at this moment in time, is financially viable, and it's in good hands. Town clerk can confirm that. So if I can move on to you, please.
Yes,
for a question.
obviously, it's Kathy. Obviously, I know you can't discuss the KIRKBY complex, but you've never actually disclosed what is the actual fees that you've been quoted by your barrister for the court date in March. So what has your barrister and solicitor and legal team actually quoted you for? How much
what you must understand in this case, I'll just outline what's in public domain. Labour Council, previous to us getting in, on the 21st of July 2012, at a meeting, the developer. Can I have a bit of order, please, Anne?
No, I'm joking. It's when all these lies are going down my throat, and it makes you want to choke.
If I have another comment like that, I'll ask you to leave the room, man. There's no need for it.
Ah, there we go again.
In July 2012, the Labour Council made an agreement to sell that complex to the developer. On 21st of July 2012, that was the completion date, which everybody were aware of, where they had to complete. The developer paid the money. It wasn't subject to planning. That's what he signed up to. Unfortunately, on the 23rd, he failed to turn up at the solicitor's office. It then carried on for years. Although he built this, and he built Sandygate, and the town council at that time committed community to £2.25 million worth of work without one contract being signed. The work was done nearly a year before contracts were signed. So that needs highlighting. The other thing then is, in the last 8 years, prior to the last election, the Labour Council asked the developer to complete on 4 or 5 occasions through the solicitor, which cost £4,000 or £5,000 a time. He failed to do that. He asked for an extension of time or a variation to contracts. This council and the previous council all refused that variation to contracts. And where it stands now is, on our point, is the outstanding amounts at 1.3 something million, because he paid £50,000 as part of section 106 that then fell. And there's still £300,000 owing out to complete the 4.5 million.
That's not my question. My
And
question
then,
is how much is it going to cost
let me give these figures and then I'll tell you. And then there's interest to be added on to that. So that's where we are with that. Then what happened then is this council over the period asked again twice to complete, and he failed to complete. What's transpired now is he's now issued against us to complete, which is ironic when he's had 10 years to complete. And so we're the defendants in this case. We've asked him to complete. He's had 2 years under us to complete, and he's failed to do it. Now he's taking us to court for specific performance. So we're the defendants in it. We have to defend it.
Yeah, but there's a fee. That's what all I'm wanting to know is how much is it going to cost you?
At the last figure, I think that the town clerk got for end of town council's cost, it regions 148,000.
For what?
You have to go to court, which is an estimate.
It is, but we can't give precise figures though, because that would
Yeah,
be difficult.
it were in regions of that, but like town clerk says, we can't give precise figures.
And usually something like this, a court case, you actually have to put the money up
No.
before you go to court. Most court hearings, you have to make sure that you've got the funds available to pay your barrister, your solicitor, and their legal team. So you're saying that it will, to take it to court in March.
It's already at that point.
But I thought you said that you've got something on the 2nd or 3rd of December.
We've got a mediation coming up.
Yeah.
There is, but we can't
So
talk about it.
mediation
Yeah,
doesn't
we
mean
can't-
mediation
I've
doesn't
I've
mean
just,
that it's.
I've just been interrupted by town clerk. You know, it's.
Yeah, I
we
understand.
need to
There's
know
certain
legal
things
issues
that you
here.
can say that's in court and certain things. But all I wanted to know is what are we looking at cost to take to defend yourself then, as you're just saying. So you're saying it's going to cost you 148, and that's separate to what you've already spent.
Well, if I can briefly put it over like this, if I'm going too far, stop me, Alan.
Don't mention figures then, Mr. Chairman,
Right, I can't mention figures.
at this stage.
If, how can I put it? One way or the other, if we win, the developer will have to pay us a certain amount of money, which will cover any cost that we've got. If we lose, we'll still get that money off him to cover costs that we've got. But then it depends then on whether the judge orders to pay costs.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to clarify, the costs for both parties have been calculated, and they've been lodged with the court. To release those figures now would be contempt of court. In due course they'll be released, but I can't do
Yeah,
that today.
I just know that
Yeah.
obviously a barrister and a solicitor
They're not
will
cheap, I appreciate
advise
that,
you how much this is going
Yes,
to cost
they've
you,
done
so that
that.
you can make
They've done that to the penny.
an informed decision. What are we doing?
Yes, and all members are aware of those figures as
Yeah.
well.
Yes, Lynn?
Sorry, I've got a few questions, but I promise I'll be brief. First question, I understand from Mr. Draper that the next full council meeting is going to be live on Zoom and interactive, but not recorded and made available later for anyone who can't actually attend the Zoom at the time. I would just like the council to consider putting that video up on YouTube or some similar hosting platform afterwards. The live stream I did of the last full council meeting has had over 4,000 views since the night it was actually posted. So I just asked you to consider there are potentially about 4,000 parishioners who would like to watch that meeting. So please think about it, consider recording it and posting it up later. That's my question. I've been asked.
Just answer that. I think
Yeah.
Sean's made a proposal to push that forward. Am I right, Sean?
I've made that many.
Oh, you mentioned
At the moment, the resolution passed by the council is to live stream them,
Yeah.
not to record them. It would need another resolution to record them.
Right.
Okay, you put one on for next meeting then.
Yeah. But then the recording won't start.
It might not be recorded this meeting, but I will
Yeah.
put that forward.
That's all right. If we can put it forward, I'll record the next one and then you guys can do the one after that. That'll be fine. Second question was actually, I suspect it may not be your area, but I'm going to ask anyway because a resident has raised it today. The little park on KIRKBY Road, we had asked Wakefield to do something about the state it's in, particularly the dangerously broken down wall. Have you heard anything from Wakefield about their intentions to do anything about that park? Because it's the little one that you and I talked about. Somebody's asked me about it.
There's going to be a memorial for it.
Right, brilliant. There you
I'm
go,
gonna let
question
you know.
answered. Thank you.
Are you talking about in front of Pontypridd?
That's already in.
Is it
Yes.
already in?
Yes.
There's walls and that going on. It's
I mean,
already
all
going
that
on.
is, there's only ever been benches.
It's just-
Yeah, it's particularly the broken down wall that the residents been concerned about.
The
I raised it
benches.
with Wakefield months ago,
The benches.
and so he was chasing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
The
benches, yeah.
there isn't no seating.
Yeah.
It's quite dangerous.
There's
Yeah.
there's going to be some benches and that in it. It's getting done.
Brilliant. Thanks, Maxine. That's great.
I will push it.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
pushed it forward for you.
I'll push
Yeah.
it. I'll push it forward.
Yeah, it's more for the residents.
Yeah, it is, love, yeah.
So,
You did
yeah.
right, yeah.
And my final question is also from a resident who can't make it tonight, unfortunately, because they're poorly. It's actually from Mr. Draper. In the full council meeting on the 4th, a member of the public asked the council in general to confirm, to state categorically that there is no asbestos in the water park. that didn't happen, but apparently Councillor Hurd here had emailed you, Mr. Draper, and at the time you couldn't recall the email or its contents. The parishioner would just like to know, have you now found that email and have you now responded to Councillor Hurd on the subject?
I've got the email, yes I have.
Right, but you haven't yet responded to Councillor Hurd about it? Right, okay, thank you. Okay, that's me done, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I just ask another, with Lynn mentioning this, it's just realised that someone else had asked me something. Are you aware of all the antisocial behaviour in Grove Lane Park, known as Vicky Park? Because we're having regular fires every weekend and then the actual playground is left in a state of, well, it's quite dangerous actually for children. I've been liaising with the antisocial behaviour guy at Wakefield Council, and I've also been liaising with the police regarding this, and also the bins being set on fire near Lloyd's Chemists. I'm just asking, as councillors, are you actually aware of?
No,
You're not.
we've been happy as spoke,
Yeah.
haven't we?
Well, I know there has been some, because obviously I live in that area, and I've reported it to David Lockwood, who's passed it on to neighbourhood watch team, so, you know, now that dark nights are in, I think they'll probably put, even more patrols on, but I will contact him again to chase it up.
Yeah, well, I've actually attended some PAC meetings that are held down in South Hemsworth, I believe it is, that are held every 6 weeks on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Can I just actually point out that the people that have actually come, like the antisocial behaviour guy, the housing guy for Wakefield, all the police, and none of them, I don't think, actually know any of you. So can I actually invite you to attend one of these PAC meetings to actually see what is brought up?
You want one? Yeah, try and make it whenever they are. What did you say? What day?
It's normally every 6 weeks. We had one, I think it was the 2nd of November.
Station.
Yeah.
What, at
Moorthorpe Station.
Oh, yeah.
We've actually asked whether we can have one on an evening, but the lady, because this covers all different wards, it actually also covers Aqua. And the lady said that she preferred them during the day, but we've discussed with the police, and they've said that they may look at one every other on an evening, so that more people can attend. But it would be nice.
I'll contact Sergeant Lockwood to find out when they are.
Yeah.
And then I'll pass it on to the town clerk to circulate between members, and if we can make it for these particular evenings or days.
Well, because I get notified of them, obviously I'll just send the clerk a quick email just to let you know.
Just to make the point that I was also at that meeting. There was a representative from South KIRKBY Council and a representative from South Hemsworth Council at that meeting. So I think what you might be saying is it might be advisable for someone from Hemsworth Council to attend there when they're discussing the issues in Hemsworth.
Yeah,
because last meeting they brought the Hemsworth Community Police at our request from the previous meeting. The last meeting they brought the community police from Hemsworth, so that we knew exactly what was going on there. It's just a thought.
Yeah,
brilliant.
It was very beneficial, actually.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'll make sure we know. I didn't know about a meeting there. Maxine did, so.
We've had just about half an hour of questions then, so I do apologise, but I'll have to move into exclusion of press and public next half.